So, Ashley, you are a sports broadcaster here at ABC7 in Los Angeles. Sports broadcasting is primarily a male-dominated kind of sector of broadcasting. So why did you want to get into it, and what kind of obstacles or hurdles have you faced, if any?
Well, luckily, I grew up with 3 brothers. So I've always kind of been one of the guys and always hanging out with the boys. And so it's always been comfortable for me. So walking into this industry, I knew at some points it would definitely be a challenge. But I also knew this is one that I was up for. My mom was a newscaster. And so I kind of combined her being in TV, my love for sports, my family's love of sports, combined the two and made a career out of it.
Wow.
So it's a lot of fun. And of course, there are days where it's challenging, where you're walking into a locker room and there's 50 men there in front of you and you might be the only female.
Right.
But I challenge a lot of people when they do feel uncomfortable, and even myself, mind over matter. If you choose to feel uncomfortable and you want to make yourself a victim of, oh, I don't like this, it's uncomfortable, you can feel that way. Mm-hmm. But you can also challenge yourself to say, what's the difference in me and any of the other guys? We're all here for the same purpose. A lot of people treat me with a lot of respect. Athletes, coaches. I have been very lucky in this business to be treated very fairly.
Yeah.
And just like any of the other men. So I think you have to come in with confidence and just with the idea that I'm not really any different than anyone else.
Right. Have you experienced someone kind of trying to size you up before they get to meet you and think and kind of projecting their own kind of opinions on you?
Oh my gosh, every day.
Yeah.
And I've been in this business, I was just telling you guys, for almost 4.5 years, almost 5. And I still meet challenges where people look at me differently or think one thing about me. And then after a conversation, after getting to know me, they're like, wow, that's not exactly what I thought you were going to be like at all. And I love that, because I think you can look at someone and look at me being a 6-foot-tall blonde and say a lot of people's criticism would be she doesn't know what she's talking about. She didn't play football. When you get to know someone, when you get to watch some of my shows, you see a totally different side of me, and you kind of get to know who I am. So I always am up for the challenge. But yeah, I mean, people do it all the time.
So you were around sports when you were growing up. You were a swimmer, right?
Yeah,
and
USC.
Were you like go to the Olympics?
Olympic trials.
Yeah.
My whole life was swimming. I mean,
So
from
cool.
the second I was 5 years old, I started swimming. I did not stop until I was 22. Swam in Olympic trials, was a state record holder, and had a lot of great success in college, and I loved it.
What have been some of your career highlights?
Oh man, being here in general is
Yeah.
a highlight. I mean, I never thought I would get to work in Los Angeles and get to work at ABC7. This is the top of the top for me. Super Bowl was pretty incredible. Getting to cover the Rams in this past year's Super Bowl in Atlanta was just an unbelievable experience. And covering 2 World Series with the Dodgers. I'm a baseball girl. I love Dodgers.
Yeah.
I always have. And so for me, it was kind of an eye-opening experience. Like, I can't believe I get to do this, and I get paid to be here and cover these teams.
Right.
So to me, those were a couple of the greatest things. And then on the entertainment side, I have done a few entertainment shows and had a few opportunities. I got to co-host the Bachelor Winter Games, which was a fun spin-off of The Bachelor. To me, that was like the coolest experience, and I got to step out of my comfort zone and to do something really different I never thought I would do.
I mean, what is it like working at a massive network like ABC, and what kind of advice would you give to maybe some peers or people who are younger than you about wanting to, work in broadcast news?
It's a great responsibility, and it's one that I don't take lightly. There is a standard, and I have to meet that every day, whether that's in my professionalism, my knowledge, my performance. There are so many different things that I challenge myself every day that I tell a lot of people, just come and just be driven and just show up every day. Don't take shortcuts, and just believe in yourself. That's a huge part of it. But I'm so fortunate to do it, and every day I kind of drive through that front gate where it says KABC on the front,
cool.
and I'm just like, I can't believe I'm here. It's so cool, and I still feel that way after being here 3 years.
So break down like a day in your life, because people see you on TV, obviously, but how much, research do you have to do before interviewing someone, or what are like the less glamorous parts of the job?
Like having zero social life. That's what I tell everyone. I'm like, yeah, my friends are like, we haven't seen you in months. And I'm like, yeah, because I'm working all the time. But my work is getting to go to games. It could range from like a 5-hour workday to like a 10-hour workday, just depending on what's going on.
Right.
So I'm constantly on Twitter, seeing what's happening, what
Yeah.
news is breaking, and watching games constantly. I probably on average watch 2 to 3 games a day
Wow.
of different sports sometimes. Like it might be the Angel game on one TV, the Dodger game on another,
Right.
and then Sports Center on the far TV. I'm just
Right.
trying to kind of stay on top of everything. But that's definitely the most challenging part of my job, is just trying to be on top of everything happening.
You know, agree or not, we're definitely living in this like fake news era. As a journalist, like, what do you kind of feel any responsibility toward that at all?
Well, huge. Yeah, like I said, being on ABC, people go home and they turn on the TV and they want to know what's happening in Los Angeles, what's happening in the world. And they trust us to tell them. And in a way, there has to be a sense where we're telling you the news without bias. We have to give it to you straightforward, and we have to be correct. I have challenged myself throughout my career is to just be right.
Yeah, I mean, you know, presidents, for example, and other, you know, leaders, they have capabilities now that they didn't have, you know, 10, 15 years ago, having direct access to the masses because of digital media. So because they have that kind of, that access, do you ever feel that your job as a reporter could be like threatened, or how do you think the industry might change?
It's so incredible because I said my mom was a news anchor during the 80s.
Yeah.
And now the business she was in is not the business I'm in now.
No.
Because people would wait for her newscast to learn whatever's going on. This business isn't what it used to be, and people
Right.
aren't relying on us as much as they used to. So yeah, if like I heard President Trump in one of his interviews recently say, I use my Twitter account to tell everyone straight from my mouth what I believe.
Right.
In a way that's great, in a way it can also be a little crazy,
Right.
but that's just the way the world works now, where we have instant communication. And so yeah, it is interesting, but I also think it challenges us to be creative in delivering the news, whether it's delayed or if it's happening right away, in a different manner, and in a manner that's still important for people to want to watch us.
But how important is social media to you? I mean,
Yeah.
in as a kind of a subset from, you know, being on TV.
It's now merging where the
Right.
two are like kind of becoming the same. And
Right.
I'm a news personality, and so you see me on TV, but now you have this other platform where people want to get to know me and see what else I'm doing outside of my newscast that they just watched. So it's a huge part now of being a news personality, but it's also really fun too. And you can show people a different side of you, but it's a huge part of our jobs now.
Yeah.
It's going to become even more and more and more part of our jobs in television. So I've embraced it, and I think it's fun. And
We kind of already touched on it, but where do you kind of see the industry heading in the future in entertainment and sports?
yeah, definitely digital. I
Yeah.
think that's where things are going, and ABC has done a great job of embracing that and trying to really play up the live stream and the apps. That's all becoming a huge part now of television. So we're
Right.
constantly promoting that on air. Hey, make sure you check out our tweet or our app, or
Yeah.
go on my Facebook Live and answer these questions. So it's fun and it's a challenge. But I think more and more as some of these sites become really important in people's day-to-day lives, we're going to have to work with it, and we're going to have to figure out ways to incorporate it into television.
Right.
And so I always try to do that. And my show that I do on Sunday nights, we'll show some tweets and we'll do some fun stuff with social media, because that's the world we live in, where people
Yeah.
are constantly sitting on their phones. So you got to make it interesting, you got to make it relevant. But I see that playing a huge role in the growth of television.